If you're over 60 and you've tried diet after diet and you still find yourself hungry all the time, I want you to know something important right now. It is not your fault. The hunger you feel isn't a character flaw. It isn't weakness. It isn't a lack of discipline. It is biology. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening inside your body, and more importantly, what you can do about it. My name is Dr. William Lee, and on this channel, Aging Strong Together, we talk about the science of healthy aging, not fad diets, not miracle supplements, just real, peer-reviewed research that you can actually use. Today I'm sharing something I call the 1-2-3 eating rule. It's a simple 3-part framework built specifically for people over 60 who want to control their hunger without starving themselves, without giving up the foods they love, and without spending money on expensive programs. By the end of this video, you'll understand 1 anchor food, 2 hunger blockers, and 3 meal timing rules. And I promise you, if you implement even just one of these starting tomorrow, you will feel the difference. So stay with me. This one is worth your full attention. Before I give you the solution, I want to take a few minutes to explain why hunger works differently after the age of 60. Because once you understand the biology, the rules I'm about to share will make complete sense. Here's what most people don't realize. Hunger is not simply about an empty stomach. Hunger is a hormonal signal, a complex conversation happening between your gut, your bloodstream, and your brain. And after 60, that conversation gets disrupted in 3 major ways. Number 1, ghrelin. Ghrelin is your primary hunger hormone. It's produced in your stomach, and it sends a signal to your brain that says, eat now. Studies from the National Institute on Aging have shown that ghrelin levels tend to become more dominant and harder to suppress as we get older. In other words, your hunger signals get louder, even when your body doesn't actually need more food. Number 2, leptin resistance. Leptin is the hormone that tells your brain, you're full, stop eating. In a healthy system, when you've eaten enough, leptin rises and the brain gets the message. But in many adults over 60, particularly those carrying excess weight around the midsection, the brain stops responding properly to leptin. The signal is there, the brain just ignores it. So you keep eating long past the point your body actually needed food. Number 3, sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is the medical term for the natural loss of muscle mass that comes with aging. After 60, most adults lose between 1 and 2% of their muscle every year if they're not actively working to preserve it. Why does this matter for hunger? Because muscle is metabolically active tissue. The less muscle you have, the slower your metabolism, and the longer and more intense your hunger episodes become. So let's add this up. You have louder hunger signals from ghrelin, your brain is ignoring the full signal from leptin, and your metabolism is running slower because of muscle loss. That's a triple threat, and it's the reason so many people over 60 feel like they're fighting a losing battle with appetite. But here's the good news. Each one of these 3 problems has a biological solution, and those solutions are exactly what the 1-2-3 eating rule is designed to deliver. Now, I want to be clear about something before we go further. Everything I'm about to share is based on peer-reviewed research. Research conducted at institutions including Harvard Medical School, the National Institute on Aging, and Oxford University. I'll reference the specific studies as we go through each rule. I also want to say this directly. I am not your doctor. Please always consult with your personal physician or registered dietitian before making significant changes to how you eat, especially if you are managing conditions like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, or if you take medications like metformin, insulin, or blood thinners. The rules I'm sharing today are safe for most people, but your individual situation matters. Now, here's one piece of science I want to anchor everything to, because it changes the way you'll think about hunger forever. Research published in the journal Obesity Reviews found that a true hunger episode, the kind triggered by ghrelin, typically peaks and then naturally subsides within approximately 20 minutes, provided you don't respond to it immediately with food. 20 minutes, that's it. What this means is that most of the eating we do between meals, the snacking, the grazing, the I just need something moments, isn't true biological hunger. It's a hormonal signal that would have passed on its own if we had the tools to wait it out. The 1-2-3 eating rule gives you those tools. Here's the simple structure. One anchor food, one specific type of food at every meal that activates your satiety hormones and keeps you genuinely full for hours. 2 hunger blockers, 2 practical strategies you can use before or during meals to dramatically reduce how much you eat without feeling deprived. 3 meal timing rules, 3 simple guidelines about when you eat that reset your hunger hormones at the biological level. Let's walk through each one. Rule number 1, at every meal, you need what I call an anchor food. Think of an anchor as something that holds a ship in place, stable, grounded, not drifting. That's exactly what an anchor food does for your appetite. It holds your hunger in place, preventing the spikes and crashes that lead to overeating later in the day. So what makes a food qualify as an anchor food? It needs to meet 2 criteria. First, it must be high in protein. Second, it must be high in fiber or paired with something that is. Here's why this combination is so powerful. When you eat protein and fiber together, your gut releases a hormone called GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1. If you've heard of Ozempic or Wegovy, those medications work by mimicking GLP-1. But here's what many people don't realize. The right foods can trigger your body to produce GLP-1 naturally, for free, with no injections and no side effects. GLP-1 does 3 things. It slows the rate at which your stomach empties, so food stays with you longer. It sends a powerful "I'm satisfied" signal to your brain, and it helps stabilize blood sugar, which prevents the energy crashes that trigger cravings. So which foods are the best anchor foods for people over 60? I recommend these 5. Lentils. 1 cup of cooked lentils gives you 18 grams of protein and 15 grams of fiber. They're inexpensive, easy to prepare, and they trigger one of the strongest GLP-1 responses of any food studied. Greek yogurt. Plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt, not the flavored kind, provides about 17 grams of protein per serving. Pair it with some berries or a tablespoon of chia seeds, and you have a complete anchor meal. Eggs. 2 eggs provide around 12 grams of highly bioavailable protein. Research from the University of Connecticut found that adults who ate eggs at breakfast consumed significantly fewer calories over the following 24 hours compared to those who ate a carbohydrate-based breakfast. Oatmeal. Not the instant packets loaded with sugar. I'm talking about steel-cut or rolled oats. The soluble fiber in oats, called beta-glucan, has been specifically shown to enhance GLP-1 secretion and prolong the feeling of fullness. Salmon. Rich in both protein and omega-3 fatty acids, salmon triggers satiety hormones and supports the muscle preservation that's so critical after 60. Even 2 to 3 servings per week makes a measurable difference. The rule is simple. Every meal should contain at least one of these anchor foods, or another food that meets the high protein, high fiber criteria. I want to share a story from one of my patients. I'll call her Margaret. Margaret was 67 years old when she came to me frustrated and exhausted. She had been eating what she thought was a healthy diet, salads, whole grain crackers, fruit smoothies, but she was hungry every 2 hours. She felt out of control around food. When I looked at her meals, the problem was clear. Almost no protein, almost no fiber. She was eating foods that spiked and crashed her blood sugar all day long. We made one change. We added an anchor food to every meal. Within 2 weeks, Margaret told me, "I don't understand what happened. I used to eat every 2 hours. Now one meal keeps me satisfied for 5. That's what an anchor food does. Start there. Rule number 2 gives you 2 specific strategies, what I call hunger blockers, that you can use every day to dramatically reduce your appetite at meals without eating less food overall. These are not supplements, they're not medications. They're behavioral and physiological techniques backed by clinical research. And the best part? They cost nothing and take almost no time. Hunger blocker number 1, water timing. Here's a specific instruction. Drink 16 ounces of cold water, that's about 2 cups, 15 minutes before each meal. I know this sounds almost too simple, but let me give you the science behind it. A randomized controlled trial published in the journal Obesity, conducted by researchers at Oxford University, found that adults who drank 500 milliliters of water, that's about 16 ounces, 30 minutes before meals, consumed on average 22% fewer calories at that meal compared to those who didn't. And in adults over 50, that effect was even stronger. There are 2 mechanisms at work here. First, water occupies physical volume in your stomach, which stretches the stomach walls and triggers early satiety signals. Second, dehydration, even mild dehydration, is frequently misinterpreted by the brain as hunger. Many times when you feel hungry between meals, you're actually thirsty. Drinking water first gives your brain the chance to distinguish between the 2 signals. One practical tip: use a glass, not a bottle, because you're more likely to drink it all at once. And drink it cold. Cold water causes a slight thermogenic effect, meaning your body burns a small number of additional calories, warming the water to body temperature. It's a small bonus, but worth noting. Hunger blocker number 2, the fiber first bite. This is one of the most underutilized strategies in nutrition science, and it's completely free. The rule is this: at every meal, eat your vegetables or salad first for at least 5 minutes before you touch your protein, your carbohydrates, or anything else on your plate. Here's the mechanism. When fiber from vegetables enters your digestive tract, it triggers the release of hormones called incretins, including GLP-1 and another hormone called GIP. These incretins signal to your brain that food is arriving, you're being nourished, and you can begin winding down your appetite. Research published in the journal Diabetes Care found that when participants ate vegetables before carbohydrates, rather than all together or carbohydrates first, their post-meal blood sugar was significantly lower, their insulin response was more stable, and they reported feeling fuller for a longer period afterward. For people over 60, stable blood sugar is especially important. Blood sugar crashes are one of the primary drivers of that mid-afternoon energy slump and the intense cravings that follow. By eating fiber first, you essentially smooth out that curve before it starts. You don't need a side salad at every meal. Even 5 bites of steamed broccoli, a few slices of cucumber, or a small handful of spinach before the rest of your meal will activate this response. I'm thinking of another patient. I'll call him Robert. Robert was 71 years old, retired, and he had a habit he couldn't shake. Every afternoon around 3 p.m., he would raid the pantry. Crackers, chips, whatever was there. He'd been doing it for years and felt genuinely embarrassed about it. When we talked, it became clear that his lunch was anchor-free and he never drank water before eating. We added the 2 blockers: 16 ounces of water before lunch, vegetables first at the meal. Within 2 weeks, Robert told me the 3 p.m. hunger had simply stopped. Not because he was white-knuckling it, but because his body was finally getting the signals it needed. These 2 blockers work best together. Use them at the same time at every meal you can. Now we come to the third part of the framework, and this is the one that surprises people the most. For decades, a lot of conventional wisdom said that people, especially older adults, should eat small meals every 2 to 3 hours throughout the day to keep metabolism steady and prevent overeating. I understand why that advice seemed logical, but the research tells a different story. Frequent eating actually keeps your ghrelin levels continuously elevated. It prevents your GLP-1 from ever fully activating. It means your hunger system never truly resets. You're essentially keeping the hungry light on all day long. The 3 meal timing rules are designed to let your hormones reset fully between each eating window. Timing rule number 1. Eat breakfast within 90 minutes of waking up. When you wake up in the morning, your cortisol, your primary stress and arousal hormone, naturally peaks. This is healthy and normal. It's what makes you feel alert and ready for the day. And one of cortisol's jobs is to kickstart your metabolism. If you eat breakfast within that 90-minute cortisol window, you essentially amplify this metabolic signal. Your body recognizes that food is available. It switches into an active energy burning mode, and your hunger hormones calibrate for the rest of the day. If you skip breakfast or delay it significantly, your cortisol spike goes to waste. Your blood sugar starts to drift, and by mid-morning, you're already fighting a hunger battle you didn't need to start. Breakfast doesn't need to be large. In fact, a smaller breakfast with an anchor food, like Greek yogurt with chia seeds or 2 eggs with a handful of spinach, works beautifully here. The goal is to activate the system, not to overload it. Timing rule number 2. Space your meals 4 to 5 hours apart. I want you to move away from the idea of eating every 2 to 3 hours. That pattern works against your satiety hormones, not with them. When you space meals 4 to 5 hours apart, something important happens. Your ghrelin level completes a full hunger cycle. It rises, it peaks, and if you have your anchor food and your hunger blockers in place, it subsides naturally before your next meal. Additionally, this spacing allows your body to enter a mild post-absorptive state, a period between meals where your body is not processing food. During this window, insulin levels drop, your body becomes more sensitive to its own satiety signals, and fat metabolism becomes more active. You do not need to be starving between meals. That's not the goal. The goal is to give your body enough space to reset, and if you've used your anchor food and your 2 hunger blockers, you will find that 4 to 5 hours passes with much less discomfort than you might expect. Timing rule number 3. Stop eating at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. This one is particularly important for people over 60, and here's why. During the first few hours of deep sleep, your body releases a surge of human growth hormone, HGH. Despite the name, in adults, HGH is not primarily about growth. It's about repair. It supports muscle maintenance, helps regulate fat metabolism, and plays a role in keeping your cardiovascular system healthy. But here's the critical detail. HGH is almost completely suppressed by elevated insulin. When you eat, particularly carbohydrates, in the hours before sleep, your insulin rises. And if insulin is elevated when you fall asleep, your HGH response is blunted significantly. Over time, this is one of the hidden contributors to the muscle loss and metabolic slowdown that many people over 60 experience. They're not doing anything obviously wrong, but eating too close to bedtime is quietly undermining their body's overnight repair process, night after night. 3 hours is the general guideline. If you typically sleep at 10 p.m., try to finish eating by 7 p.m. If you feel mild hunger before bed, herbal tea or water is completely fine. Let me put the 3 timing rules together into a simple daily schedule you can start using immediately. 7:30 a.m., breakfast, within 90 minutes of waking. 12:30 p.m., lunch, 5 hours later. 5:30 p.m., dinner, 5 hours later, at least 3-4 hours before sleep. That's it. 3 meals, 4 to 5 hours between each one. Finished eating by early evening. Simple, sustainable, and aligned with your biology. One important note for those of you who take medications like metformin, insulin, or sulfonylureas for blood sugar management. Changes to your meal timing can affect how these medications work. Please speak with your physician before adjusting your eating schedule. This framework is designed for general wellness, and your medical needs always come first. Let me bring this all together for you. The reason you've struggled with hunger is not willpower. It's biology, specifically 3 hormonal disruptions that become more pronounced after the age of 60. Ghrelin that signals louder, leptin that gets ignored, a metabolism that's slowed by muscle loss. These are real, measurable changes happening in your body. And the 1-2-3 eating rule addresses all 3. Rule 1, 1 anchor food. At every meal, choose 1 food high in protein and fiber like lentils, Greek yogurt, eggs, oats, or salmon. This activates your GLP-1, your body's natural satiety hormone, and keeps you full for hours. Rule 2, 2 hunger blockers. Drink 16 ounces of water 15 minutes before you eat. Then eat your vegetables first. These 2 habits reset your appetite before the meal even begins. Rule 3, 3 meal timing rules. Eat breakfast within 90 minutes of waking. Space your meals 4 to 5 hours apart. Stop eating at least 3 hours before bed. These 3 rules align your eating schedule with your body's natural hormone cycles. You don't need to do all of this perfectly on day 1. In fact, I'd encourage you to start with just 1 rule. Try Rule 1 tomorrow morning. Add 1 anchor food to your breakfast. See how you feel by mid-morning. Let your body give you the feedback. Because here's what I've seen in patient after patient. Once your body starts responding, the motivation to keep going becomes natural. You don't have to push yourself. Your body pulls you forward. If this video was useful to you, please save it. You'll want to come back to it. And if you have a friend or family member who's been struggling with the same battle with hunger, please share it with them. This information should not be hard to find. And if you haven't subscribed yet to Aging Strong Together, please do. Every week, we bring you science-backed strategies designed specifically for people over 60 who want to live longer, feel better, and stay strong. Next week, I'll be sharing something I get asked about constantly. The 5 foods I personally eat every single week to stay lean and maintain my energy. And a few of them will probably surprise you. I'll see you then. Take good care of yourself, and remember, you are never too old to get stronger.